In this video, we're going to take a quick look at progressive refinement in Relight. Progressive refinement can be useful for scenes where the rendering time is long because it allows you to get an idea of what the image is going to look like before the entire image has been computed. So here we've loaded a scene with a furry baker octopus, and if we do the shading with progressive refinement turned on, you can see that rather than shading from top down or left to right, pixels are shaded all at once all over the image, so you pretty quickly get a good idea of what the final image is going to look like. Now, progressive refinement is complementary to another technique used in Relight to make re-rendering very quick. That's Relight's caching mechanism. You can see here that as we change colors and other parameters with automatic refresh turned on, the image is re-rendered very quickly because only that part of the image which is affected by the changes is recomputed. Now how that works is that as the image is computed, the results from each shading node are stored in a cache by Relight. So when I change a color, only those shaders which are concerned by that color are recomputed. Everything else has been done already. So as you see here, we can even change the color of the fur, any color in the scene, and it's updated quite quickly. Now this character also uses subsurface scattering. So here what we're going to do is we're going to tweak the subsurface scattering parameters, recompute those. That's just the subsurface scattering contribution, and here's the final image. And that is also quite quick. Now here we've picked two different materials, the background and the floor. We divided the diffuse component by 2. We're increasing the reflection here. We'll make the reflection a bit blurry. And for all these changes, only those parts of the image which are affected by the changes are recomputed. And that's independent of progressive refinement. Okay, so now we're going to put reflection back 50%. Now another thing we can do is play with the lights. Here what we're going to do is add a spotlight with a deep shadow map. You can see that is the contribution of just that spotlight, and here is the final image. Now what we're going to do is turn off the spotlights and replace them with a single area light. Now what we're doing here is we're modifying the position of the area light in the 3D viewer, and as the position of the area light changes, the rendering is updated automatically. And here you can see that progressive refinement really becomes more useful because it does take several seconds for the image to be computed, and it gives you a better idea right away of what the image is going to look like. So here we're just going to turn the area light red, wait for that image to compute. That's the contribution of the area light with ambient occlusion, and that's the final image. And what we're going to do last, to make it even more complex, is we're going to add a volume shader. This volume shader is a light beam with a noise field bound to the color. I'm going to make that yellowish with a bit of noise. We'll recompute the image. Now it does take quite a bit longer because in this image we've got subsurface scattering, area lights, ambient occlusion, fur, and now a volume shader. But the important thing to note, which you'll see in a couple seconds, is that once that volume shader has been computed, and that's the case now, if we start tweaking materials again, tweaking colors, for example, the update of the image remains very fast in spite of the complexity of the volume shader, the fur, the ambient occlusion, and everything else. We change the color of the fur, and the update is still quite quick. And that's due to Relight's caching mechanism.